What do you mean by that?
I don't know.
You don't have to be atheist to laugh at Christ dying. Now, don't have all these misconceptions. Anyone can laugh at Christ dying.
Okay.
I
didn't know that.
Yeah, you can.
You ever have run-ins with that Bill Donahue guy?
Yeah, well, you guys were like sucking up to him, right?
We had a run-in. He got us fired.
He's right. Giving him that much power is just so disgusting.
And he's
a guy that runs out of his basement. He's like nobody. The Catholics have someone who speaks for them. It's a guy with a hat. That's the guy they have. This is another guy who doesn't speak for Catholics, just claims to. And you guys were like, sucking up to him.
No, that's not true. No, we weren't. We originally had him on to attack him. That's
and
why
he
we
was
had him.
Such a nice guy.
But no, he was
a smart guy, a sweet guy who said Trey Parker and Matt Stone should die. That's kind of nice guy.
I'm talking about the way he dealt with us. What he said about them is up to him. I'm telling what he dealt with us is that he admitted, hey, look, you guys. They said you guys did something in the church. I didn't see it. I'm the head of the Catholic League. What do you want me? He was honest, at least with us, about the situation he dealt with us. So I'm not going to be a phony and attack him just on the principle of attacking him. That's why we originally had him on the show, was to attack him, but then he turned out to be okay. And it's like, what am I going to do?
How does he be okay when he does?
He was honest about it. As far as a religious leader or any type of leader like that, those guys are usually awful. And at least he admitted that he had heard the broadcast.
It was inappropriate for him to fake that he had an organization to try to get you thrown off the air when you did nothing wrong?
He didn't use those words.
Okay.
Unfortunately, his fake organization had a lot of power with the big boys upstairs.
I think that has gone away.
That's the unfortunate part.
I think he's kind of gone a little, even a little nutty, even for them now.
What was going on, Anthony, over there?
I don't know. A little discussion going on.
Oh, you're talking about me?
Yeah, Penn and Jimmy.
Disagreeing on.
I was saying that
on everything.
That Bill Donahue
on everything.
I was saying that Bill Donahue, you felt treated you well, and I'm saying that's not all he should be judged on.
I agree with you on that, but I didn't say he treated us well. I didn't say I'd love to hold him. I said I felt differently about him after having spoken to him. And after hearing his rationale, after having spoken to him, compared to other special interest people who are all the same, I felt differently about Donahue after having spoken to him.
And he runs the Catholic League, for people that really don't know out there, and he was instrumental in getting us fired. And for some reason, we kind of get along with him now, which I don't understand myself sometimes.
And there's no motive for us to get along with him, because we started talking to him not to get back on radio long before we were on XM, and we had him call in just to hate his guts and to trash him for something else he was taking a stand on.
It's certainly true that there are people that you can have philosophical differences with that you can lubricate socially with. You can get through. But I think that there are some moral problems with him that you shouldn't forget. While you're getting along with him, while you're being nice, while you're stroking him and so on, you should remember certain things.
Like what?
I think that the things he said about Trey Parker, Matt Stone, Bill Maher, I think those are things that...
Well, Bill, look what Bill Maher said. I mean, what's the problem with him saying that? Bill Maher was saying things about our soldiers, which is fine. I got no problem with Bill Maher saying that. So what's the problem if he says stupid things?
You're very... It's very important that you point out the differences you have with Bill Maher, and it's important you point out the differences you have with Bill Donahue. As a matter of fact, anybody...
Which we have,
Bill,
by the way.
Yeah.
We have pointed out the differences.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. That was my entire point.
And then he makes us laugh.
Also make that clear.
He goes, "What do I know? I just drink a lot at an Irish bar." And then you have to laugh at that, and you're like, you forget that you don't like the guy.
Yeah, but you're saying that we didn't point that out, which is how the relationship with him started. We certainly did point that out. We did talk about it.
Then I'm wrong.
Okay.
Really?
No. What?
Somehow I was just going from what you said right here. I didn't hear the whole other conversation.
Yeah, we've had many conversations.
Yeah, no, that's good. As long as you're still pointing that out and not turning around entirely, I have no problem with it. There's no problem with him being a nice guy. We had him on our show, and he was, I was not there during the shoot, but the crew didn't say, he threw things at them and treated them terribly. I imagine I'd get along with him fine. We do have moral differences. He points them out, and so will I. Yeah, that's all.
I think also you two were discussing the you can't really determine somebody just by how they treat you.
Well, that becomes more and more important when you have the power of the microphone. People will treat you better because they know you might be on the radio tomorrow too.
Yeah, but they'll also treat you worse if they know they're being heard. I mean,
sure.
I judge people basically on how they treat me and how I deal with them, because that's what my experience is with them. I mean, and then you raise the point of, well, Manson didn't do anything to you, and it's like, oh, of course. I mean,
I only said Manson because I didn't want to go to Hitler yet.
Well, can I?
That was the only reason. I thought maybe I could wait 3 minutes to go to Hitler.
Can I bring up a great point as far as Jimmy? You know, he how people treat him. He was a huge Yankee fan, and Dirk Jeter blew him off for a picture. He absolutely despises the Yankees now.
Well, the guys
and using your philosophy, Dirk Jeter has done a lot of charity, and you got to look at his body of work, and he seems like a pretty good guy in general. But because Jimmy got blown off for a picture, now he absolutely hates the Yankees.
39 years old, and I'm reacting like a baby. I was very upset, but I did acknowledge the guy does a tremendous amount of charity work. He's the best shortstop the Yankees. But I understand all that. But to me, he was a dick, so I hate his guts.
I think this show is becoming much too well-rounded. I don't think you can really get anybody listening when you kind of go, well, I see both sides of everything. You know? He's not a bad guy.
No, I'm amazed. I'm amazed to this day that Jimmy hates the Yankees just because Derek Jeter blew him off for a picture.
And the rest of the guys I met, I didn't like either, though. None of them were really cool that night. I mean, none of them were. You know who was? Giambi. He was the only one that you could tease. Disney was kind of a douche. They were all aloof and kind of douche.
Yeah, you're making a very big mistake here. You're making eye contact with me while talking sports, which means that I kind of get a nod and act like I know things guys know. I'm terrible about that. I mean, anything kind of.
But you must have played basketball back.
I never watched a sporting event.
No. Why?
I just never gotten around to it. I know they're wonderful and people love them. It's just it never happened.
You never got into sports at all?
Never. Isn't that horrible? That's terrible. So when he's looking at me like I'm supposed to recognize the names of people on baseball teams, I just feel like I'm lying to him.
So you don't even know who Derek Jeter is?
Well, I do. I do know that he's a famous person that plays sport. Do I get any credit for that at all? And I've got it from context that it's baseball and Yankees. I've gotten all that.
So while you were growing up, everyone else was like playing sports and looking at sporting events on TV. What were you doing?
It's horrible stuff. Reading. Stuff like that. I was
reading up on Harry Houdini.
I was the biggest outcast possible in that way. I mean, you wouldn't have. You might have liked me even less then.
Were you? I don't dislike you now, but I read and played sports. I didn't just watch sports all day and then loop it.
No, I wasn't saying anything bad about it. I was very careful.
Words on the page.
I was very careful to not say anything about sports-loving people.
I'm saying, it's like you can do both. You
can do both. Yes, I'm sure.
I'm not saying I'm the most well-read gentleman, but I mean, I don't think I watched baseball and had Down syndrome.
No, I didn't say that. I was nothing. I was saying it was total inadequacy on my part. I know that Richard Feynman played third base for a very famous team.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, me neither.
No, I no clue.